What happens when the most powerful woman in France stands accused of murder by witchcraft? In the shadowy corridors of Versailles, whispers of poison and dark magic would threaten to topple an empire. The year is 1679, and France trembles under the reign of the Sun King, Louis XIV. At the heart of his glittering court stands a woman whose beauty could launch wars and whose ambition knew no bounds. Françoise-Athénaïs de Rochechouart, Marquise de Montespan, doesn't just capture the king's heart. She owns it completely. Born into nobility, Montespan arrives at court armed with golden hair, sapphire eyes, and a razor-sharp intellect that cuts through royal protocol like silk. She's married, but that's merely an inconvenience. When she sets her sights on Louis, she doesn't simply seduce him. She orchestrates his obsession with mathematical precision. Montespan understands that kings aren't won through beauty alone. She becomes his intellectual equal, matching his wit in conversation and challenging his thoughts on philosophy and politics. She transforms herself into the one person the most powerful man in Europe cannot live without. For over a decade, she reigns as the unofficial queen of France, bearing the king's 7 children and wielding influence that extends across continents. But power this absolute breeds dangerous enemies. Louise de La Vallière, the king's former favorite, watches from the shadows. Madame de Maintenon, the pious governess of Montespan's children, quietly positions herself as the virtuous alternative. Court nobles who have been overlooked for promotions begin to plot. They need a weapon powerful enough to destroy the untouchable Marquise. Then, fortune delivers them the perfect scandal. The affair of the poisons explodes across Paris like wildfire. A network of fortune tellers, alchemists, and poison dealers stands accused of murdering hundreds of nobles. At the center sits Catherine Monvoisin, known as Voisin, a sorceress who claims her clients include the highest levels of French society. Under torture, Voisin makes a confession that sends shockwaves through Versailles. She names Madame de Montespan as one of her most devoted customers. The accusations are devastating. Montespan allegedly purchased love potions to maintain the king's affection. She commissioned black masses where naked women served as altars for satanic rituals. Most damning of all, she supposedly ordered the deaths of romantic rivals through poison and dark magic. The evidence seems overwhelming. Witnesses describe Montespan attending midnight ceremonies where infants were sacrificed. They claim she danced naked on church altars while priests performed perverted rituals. Letters allegedly written in her hand detail specific instructions for eliminating enemies through supernatural means. Louis faces an impossible choice. The woman who's shared his bed for 12 years, the mother of his beloved children, stands accused of the most heinous crimes imaginable. If the allegations are true, she's not just a murderess, but a servant of Satan himself. The Catholic Church demands her execution. His ministers insist on a public trial that would expose the rot at the heart of his reign. But Montespan fights back with the same intelligence that won her the throne. She denies every accusation with aristocratic disdain. She points out that her accusers are common criminals facing execution, willing to say anything to save their necks. She reminds Louis of their years together, their children, their shared dreams for France's glory. The king makes a decision that reveals the true extent of Montespan's power over him. Instead of ordering her arrest, he quietly removes her from court. There's no trial, no public disgrace, no execution. She's simply exiled to a convent, her influence vanishing overnight like morning mist. But here's the twist that history almost forgot. Modern scholars examining the evidence find it suspiciously convenient. The accusations against Montespan emerge just as her enemies need them most. The witnesses who testify against her receive reduced sentences. The timing coincides perfectly with Madame de Maintenon's rise to favor. Did the Marquise de Montespan really practice witchcraft and murder, or was she the victim of the most sophisticated character assassination in royal history? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere between. In an age where women wielded power through whatever means available, the line between charm and magic, influence and witchcraft, often blurred beyond recognition. Montespan herself offers the final word on her downfall. I have been the victim of my own success. When a woman rises too high, the world conspires to bring her low. The Marquise de Montespan proves that even the most powerful femme fatale can fall victim to forces beyond her control. Her legacy reminds us that in the deadly game of court politics, today's queen can become tomorrow's witch, with nothing more than whispered accusations and convenient timing.